This is my audience. Okay. In an interview a few months ago, the singer and performer JoJo Siwa was asked about her drastic change in style and music genre. And as she explained her decisions, she expresses that she believes to be the only person who has started this new genre of music called gay pop. A lot of people quickly snapped back at this declaration of hers because there are LGBTQ musicians who have been in the game far longer than she has. People like David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, Sam Smith, and George Michael. But what about Elton John? Considered to be one of music's greatest artists, Elton John has helped influence modern music and has advocated for all kinds of people all over the world. He has raised generations of people and has built an empire in his name. But despite all of this, what has led him to be considered one of the greats? Elton John has been a huge influence in my life for the past few years. I've been to one of his last concerts, I've watched his biopic 500,000 times, and both read and listened to his memoir over 100 times. He has changed my life in so many others in significant ways, and I want to share more about his life today. Elton John is a legend who has changed the world and the music industry with his selflessness, flamboyance, and timeless music. Today, I'm going to break down Elton's career in both living life and music. I'll be talking about his achievements, how he has changed the world, and even his hardships. And for you to fully understand how he's gotten where he is today, there's no better place to begin than the start. Born Reginald Kenneth Dwight, Elton grew up in a lower middle-class household in Pinard, Middlesex. He was raised by his mother Sheila and grandmother Ivy. His father served in the Royal Air Force and was standoffish towards him. In his book, he spoke about how his father was strict, remote, and had a terrible temper. On top of that, his mom was argumentative and prone to dark moods and outbursts. His parents' limited affection and treatment towards Elton caused his relationship with his parents to be very estranged, especially with his father. His father had little to no involvement with Elton after his separation with his mother. Elton tried numerous times to reconcile, but his father seemed to want nothing to do with him, even declining Elton's offer to pay for his life-saving heart surgery. Later on in his childhood, his stepfather Fred, or who he called Durf, stepped in as his father figure. His relationship with his mother has been on and off throughout his life. She's always been vocal about her opinions towards Elton's life and his career, even if they haven't been the nicest. He cut his mother off for a few years before reconciling with her before her death in 2016. Elton's upbringing has affected how he sees himself as a person and has been the root for a lot of his problems, which is something he has acknowledged and confronted later in his life. Before becoming famous, Elton would play the piano for small crowds in small pubs that his parents would go to. In 1962, at the age of 15, he joined a band called Bluesology, a backing band for bigger-named artists where he'd play piano. He toured with them for 5 years or so before embarking on his solo career in 1967. In '67, Elton answered a Talent Wanted advertisement and was then introduced to his lyricist and soon-to-be longtime friend Bernie Taupin. Elton and Bernie were scouted by Ray Williams and an A&R man at Dick James Records. In 1970, Elton finally released his first album to the public, a self-titled LP, Elton John. And a few months after that, he performed at the Monumental Troubadour in LA, which was the pivotal point in his career. He took off after that, making millions, releasing albums left and right, taking numerous tours. His flamboyant outfits and stage presence just drew fans in and drove them wild. Elton has stated in interviews that his wild stage costumes and performances were his way of letting go after a restrictive childhood. He became friends with many musicians he had idolized growing up, like Stevie Wonder, The Beatles, Leon Russell, Bob Dylan, and so on. Elton had also become best friends with the royal family, especially Princess Diana. When she had passed away, he performed a reimagined version of Candle in the Wind, which he had ended up selling 33 million copies worldwide. However, the feather, glitter, timeless music, and paraphernalia wasn't enough to keep his life from falling apart behind the scenes. Elton, like every rock star in the 70s and 80s, had a cocaine addiction. Elton, however, seemed to like it more than most. In the first scene of his biopic Rocket Man, Elton really lays it all out for us. Played by Taron Egerton, he introduces himself to the AA circle by stating, "I'm an alcoholic, cocaine addict, and a bulimic, and I'm also a shopaholic who has problems with weed, prescription drugs, and anger management." The fame had very much taken a toll on him. He loved what he was doing, but he was running from his problems at the same time, which led to years of addiction and turmoil. In 1990, he made the life-changing decision to go to rehab, and I'm happy to report that he has stayed sober to this very day. In beginning the new era of Elton's new sober lifestyle, he took a break from touring and music for about a year. Right when he got out of rehab, Elton set up the EJAF, Elton John's Aid Foundation, from his kitchen table. And since that day, he has raised over $565 million to support HIV and AIDS programs in over 90 countries, helping over 100 million people worldwide. Once back from his break, he began experimenting with different genres of music. He wasn't as popular as he had used to be, but he continued to create hits that everyone loved and was still making the top charts. In 1993, he hosted a small dinner party where he met David Furnish. They seemed to hit it off, and the very next day, they went on their first date. Elton and David have been together since '93 and were one of the first gay couples in the UK to get officially married in 2014 after the legalization of gay marriage in the UK. They have two lovely sons, Zachary and Elijah, whom he has retired from touring for. "I want to see my sons grow up with my husband," Elton has stated in numerous interviews, including his book. Elton is also one of 19 people who have been given the very prestigious title of EGOT. He has won an Emmy, 5 Grammys, 2 Oscars, and a Tony. On top of this, he also has 2 Golden Globes, a Lawrence Oliver Award, the Kennedy Center Honor, and has been knighted by Queen Elizabeth, giving him the name Sir Elton John. Sir Elton Hercules John is an icon that has great star presence with his flamboyance, timeless music, and overall generosity and selflessness. After 300 million records sold worldwide, 9 #1 hits, becoming a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member, a knighthood, a successful nonprofit organization, and a successful sobriety journey, Elton continues to live his life every day at the golden age of 77. He raises his 2 sons with his husband and enjoys spending his time with all of his family. When he isn't, he is advocating for others all around the world and giving small artists a platform to share their music and art with the world. He'll make the occasional album here and there, but he is dedicating his time to downtime. Elton continues to shine each and every day. Let's be honest, he will until the day he dies, and beyond that. He will go down in history as a legend we all know and love, our Rocket Man. Thank you.